Good evening. Welcome to BitcoinCenter. I'm Paul Tarantino.
And I'm Cedric Youngelman.
Where's our music, Ted?
Let me bring that up.
Come on, man.
How you been?
I've been good.
What
Had a good weekend working around the house. How about you?
Pretty good. I got the wrong music on, I guess.
Yeah, that's different.
That was weird.
That was me.
Oh, I was like, I don't know what that is.
So you're going to
No.
Canadian Bitcoin.
The Canadian Bitcoin conference. We're going next week. I'm pretty excited for that. That's
awesome.
Last time I went, it was pushed back 6 months, I think, this year. So what the hell?
We're getting into
That's me again.
All right.
Cedric's got a cool playlist.
This is not me. This is.
Yeah, it's okay, dude. We know.
I'm not on the ones and twos right now.
No, that's me.
Francis.
But I want to bring it up. I don't know if you have thoughts on this, but like Charlie Kirk, I mean, just in terms of
like the whole shit show.
Not so much what happened that day, but just sentiment
after?
since and
sentiment.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really big thing.
Yeah,
and it was like a water cooler moment, if you would, and everyone was talking about it, and I feel like that's starting to die down. People, I don't know, or maybe that's not. I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
I mean, that's an
what's with the music?
It's an interesting point.
Do you think
at
that's
least personally, I can't speak for anybody else, but
personally,
I felt like the story we were told in the first 24 hours was so off whack, was so out of line with what I witnessed and what I, anticipated really happened.
I feel like I'm in a hashish bar or something. But
so anyways, it was just like, oh yeah, here we go again. Can't believe it. It's all BS. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't add up. And now all the data that's coming out about the angle of the shot, the cleanup of the crime scene, the data around the guy who was initially arrested, and then the kid that was supposedly the real shooter, we all knew it was bullshit immediately, and now we're getting the proof. And so it's just like, I feel like I haven't even really followed it because I've just felt like intuitively right off the bat it was all bullshit. Not that he didn't die, and not that his death wasn't fucking horrible, and not that the response of some people celebrating it wasn't horrible, but I'm just saying that the terms that we were sold in regards to his death are not adding up to me at all.
100%. But I'm more talking about the sentiment of people saying like, wow, like I want to change my life now. His life meant something to me.
Oh, I don't know any of those people.
My children, someone was inspired or turned to religion. I think there was some of that. You didn't see any of that?
Not in my group, no. We had a bunch of tinfoil hat wearing crazy people.
Outside of your group, though, I'm saying. I thought that was sort of more...
I don't talk to anybody else in my group.
Okay. Do you think that then, is it something that's going to go away and no one's going to do, like, we're not going to find any answers and no one's going to keep asking?
Oh, we're going to find answers, but you're never going to get it validated.
Right.
Like, all the answers are going to be based on the evidence that,
is
dug up by independent researchers, independent media sources, and you're going to evaluate it, and you're going to say, I think the highest probability case is this, and you're going to believe that. It's just like you're not getting any confirmation on 9/11 still today, and that was immediate bullshit when I saw it happen. And when I was working at Payne Weber, it was just like, yeah, this makes no sense. Doesn't add up at all. There's no way that plane.
Well, what do you make of that then? What do you make of watching something that doesn't make sense? That is
what I make of it is the same thing. I guess this kind of stuff doesn't affect me as much anymore because I've seen it so many times where you're just immediately lied to by the media and the government, right? Like covering up Epstein, like not releasing the Epstein list. It's like, yeah, of course, right? It's all like no one's going to tell us the truth. because too many important people will
I
get
think the
hurt.
list is like one thing to be like, I never expected them to release the list, but the story of his death was like just not believable in
not
itself.
believable either.
And we have no tapes. The tapes were turned just so.
It's all BS.
But isn't that also just?
It's
then
all a
isn't
big
that
club.
demoralizing?
It's all a big club, and you ain't
isn't
in
that
it,
the point
George
then to
Carlin.
demoralize you? Then you not being you personally, Paul, everybody. I mean, just then to confuse, demoralize.
I mean, I think you're right.
Check out.
I think
say, what can you do?
It does have.
I mean, so it's like even if you don't, it's like the old expression: you can not be political, but politics chooses you. It's like you could check out of this stuff, and it's like that's the intended effect.
A really great,
I don't know,
young guy that works at Bifederal, and he's a developer. I won't dox him, mention his name. He'll know who he is if he's listening. He's from Argentina.
Yeah, I think I've met him at dinner,
and he grew up there.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this topic, and he said to me one day, he goes, this is exactly what they did in Argentina. It's just they need to go from one catastrophe to the next, from one shock and awe to the next immediately, so that you just, like, as soon as you're like, oh my God, then they just go over here because there's another oh my God over here. And they keep that process going until, like you said, people just get demoralized and give up.
Right. Even people who care.
Yeah. It's like, okay, they're above the law. There is no justice. So what am I even worried? What am I even fighting for? Right. Which is why we're all here on Bitcoin. At least those of us many of us, right, got involved in Bitcoin because of that reason, because we found something that, regardless of what the media was saying about it, regardless of what great investors and wealthy people were saying about it, we knew it delivered the truth every 10 minutes, and that it couldn't be corrupted, and it couldn't be censored, it couldn't be taken from us. That if we volunteered to be a part of it, we had that and we own that. And I think we're the kind of people that were attracted to Bitcoin in the earliest of early days. Not that I was there in the early days. It took me a while to find it, but that kind of mindset, I think, was what are the people that were attracted to Bitcoin early on.
Yeah.
And so many people I've met in this space, what about 9/11? Like, bullshit. What about this? What about that? They're all on the same page. They all kind of came from that belief structure. And maybe that's just my little fucking niche, but seems to be pretty common. And so, that, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but I think that we're trying to find truth, and we're trying to find a way out of that system, and Bitcoin is helping us source that.
Yeah, I agree. It is that source of truth, and that's what I think Bitcoiners are truth seekers if we share anything in common.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get into the show. This is BitcoinCenter, brought to you by Bifederal. Good, thank you, Tom.
Let's be real, right? Praising Telegram for launching a Bitcoin wallet. I've always felt like with Haley,
Bitcoin, this digital currency that's out there that people say, oh, it might be the next big thing. What do you think?
I think it's rat poison.
Bitcoins. You never heard of them a few weeks ago? Now everybody's talking about them, but is it a currency?
I don't know. Or is it more like a stock? Or is it a tulip bulb? We're going to debate that.
Stupid. To me, it smells like Ponzi scheme and the greater fool theory right now.
You do like 5 minutes of freaking research.
Well, guys, thanks for coming to my set talk.
Yes.
Don't buy shitcoins.
Oh, man, I always get that wrong. All right. Bitcoin's recent rally. Do you agree? Is crypto finally dead? Go to the next one.
Matter of fact, they're kind of in the Ethernet. What are they? There's some rumors that it's this Japanese guy, but others say no, that he's a fake name. It was a pseudonym. I mean, you're literally putting real money onto a system that we don't even know who created it.
People come to a bad ending.
Is this the most exciting bull run ever?
Not for me. No, it's not.
Welcome to BitcoinCenter, the fast-paced show where the debate is the story.
that guy's voice at the end. It's like Grandpa sitting by the fire.
Yeah.
The debate is the story.
Soothing. All right, let's get into it. So Bitcoin soared to a new all-time high of 125K.
Smackdown.
So the banks came out, talked about Bitcoin joining the debasement trade amid government halt. Is Bitcoin proven itself as a safe haven?
So okay, it depends on how you look at it. I think for Bitcoiners that appreciate the fact that Bitcoin, you can self-custody Bitcoin, you can easily verify Bitcoin, you can it can't be confiscated from you. We've always looked at it as a safe haven because we've understood the imperfections in the structure of securities that we've invested in the past, right? So in that regard, Bitcoin has always been a safe haven for some of us. For others, though, who maybe have a more of a TradFi belief system or have come to Bitcoin just for money go up, I think they're seeing Bitcoin trade in lockstep with risk assets, with the NASDAQ. And so they don't see it as a safe haven asset because they're just purely looking at the correlation of Bitcoin to other risk assets. So in their minds, it's not a safe haven asset yet. And it won't be until we have a major crisis and it goes up while other risk assets are going down.
Yeah, that's key.
So, but they may not get what they want for a very long time because in a fiscally dominated cycle where we're at now, all assets should be correlated. And then you want to be on the fastest horse in that race, which is Bitcoin.
Well, so far this year, though, it's been gold.
Yes, it has been gold.
It has been gold.
Yeah, which reminds me, when are we going to get a GAT?
What's a GAT?
A gold asset treasury company.
I mean, we kind of have those, right? We have ETF. Well, we have the ETFs. That's not a GAT. And then would the miners be? Well, those are like miners. So
I'm going to see some like old school, like,
it's interesting.
Johnson and Johnson be like, we're starting a GAT. What's your MNAF to gold?
Right. Let's move on.
All right. ETF inflows Kickstart with 3.2 billion, the second best week on record. Bitcoin ETF inflows fuel Uptober rally. Are record-breaking ETF buys the rocket behind Bitcoin's October surge so far?
I mean, it seems like it. If we're looking at measuring inflows, I mean, this is the second largest ever week. This is much more than MicroStrategy or Strategy has been kind of putting into Bitcoin lately. Does this also mark it as a safe haven? I mean, these are your smartest retail value investors out there. They're moving to Bitcoin amid sort of a government halt and signs that the Fed's going to continue lowering rates.
Mm-hmm.
It's strange, it is correlated with risk assets, but what makes something a safe haven? I agree with your definition that it's kind of go up and be uncorrelated. But I think for also most people, it means less volatility. Mm-hmm. And so if Bitcoin were to outperform gold from the rest of the year, it still wouldn't be called a safe haven for a lot of people because it would be increased volatility. But, these inflows are interesting. I mean, now Bitcoin, though, is not at all-time highs anymore. It's down to 121 and change now. So remains to be seen what Uptober is like.
I mean, I think it's interesting. Are they like, with this ETF, Bitcoin ETF inflows, this could be sort of quarterly rebalancing for people that haven't had exposure. That might be a part of it because it was tailing off, and for it to just snap back up so quickly, to me, it seems like more like
a quarterly inflow.
Yeah,
rebalancing back in.
People maybe rebalancing to have Bitcoin in their portfolio for the first time.
What I find really interesting, a week or two ago, I felt like the Bitcoin X was kind of like, hey, is this over? Or is this the BART? And we go up 8 or 10 grand and it's pandemonium and it's 444 and we're going to rip. Right. And it's amazing how much that.
Well, it's, if you look at the schedule of highs and lows for Bitcoin, our mutual friend pointed this out to me today. If you look at the highs and lows in sequence from the days of trading days, from high to low, low to high, high to low, low to high, we should have peaked in the Bitcoin site up bull market as of yesterday or today.
How does that compare to 2017 when we peaked in December, I think?
It's trading days from peak to trough, trough to peak.
Not full. I see what you're saying.
So it always kind of shifts. But so we should have peaked today.
Well,
I don't think that's legit. Like I don't think we're.
Do you think we have a
linked.
peak in 2025, or does this bleed into 2026?
I think it bleeds into 2026, at least into the first quarter, if not the first half. And the only real good research I've seen from that is some research around how Bitcoin was linked with the refinancing cycle. And that refinancing cycle got pushed back because of the COVID crash. So if you looked at the bottom that happened before the COVID crash, we were coming out of it and then we spiked right back down. That move to zero interest rates for that period of time drove a lot of refinancing. And so it pushed the refinancing cycle back to where normally we'd be pressured to refinance all this debt now, corporations and government. And by letting them all refinance at low rates in mid 2020 into early 2021, maybe, it's pushed this whole thing back. So this 4-year cycle looks like it used to be kind of synced to the refinancing cycle, and now it's getting pushed back because of that COVID event. Which means that, we could peak somewhere closer because we're going to have to refinance a ton of Treasury debt going into next year. And so if we got to get rates down, we got to get liquidity up to facilitate that refinancing, then this Bitcoin cycle could continue with it.
All right. Well, Ray Dalio weighed in. So let's move on to the next one here.
Is Bitcoin a legitimate currency to hold in that environment?
That's an interesting and not easily answered question. There's a medium of exchange and a storehold of wealth, and most importantly, the storehold of wealth. So Bitcoin is perceived by many as a money. It is limited in its supply, and it has certain transaction benefits. Very easily all around the world you can transact in it, and so it has those elements. I doubt that any central bank will take it on as a reserve currency because everybody can understand and watch, governments can, who is doing what transactions on it, governments can, so there's no privacy to it. And there is a question of whether the code can be broken or things can be done to make it, let's say, less effective, including, government controls of it. So I can't say exactly how effective it is as a money, but it's being perceived by many as an alternative money. My own approach is in my share of my portfolio, I have gold and I have some Bitcoin, but not much.
What do you think? Is the billionaire investor seeing Bitcoin something more than just a hedge?
I don't think so.
What do you mean by that?
I think that's exactly what he thinks it is. It's an interesting alternative money that might be worth something someday.
I don't think he cares about the alternative money thing. I think he cares about the asymmetric trade. It sounded like Tapas. And what do you think when he says I have some Bitcoin?
No, I mean, he's been talking about having owned Bitcoin for a few years now.
How would you categorize that? 5%?
Who knows?
10%? He seems to downplay it there.
Let's say he even started. If he started at 1%, he's got 10% now.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Unless he kept rebalancing it back.
And he could have 35%. He just wants to downplay it.
Could be. I think he's right in regards to central banks. I don't see, because the whole point of Bitcoin is to replace the central bank, right? It's privacy for thee, but not for me. they want to have all their transactions shielded and, nobody gets to know what the hell they're doing, where they want to know everything about us.
Right.
You get a CBDC, they get to move money through the Bank of International Settlements without anybody knowing what the hell they're doing. So yeah, I think Bitcoin in and of itself is an attack against central banking. It may have been specifically created as such. And I think if you're Ray Dalio or anybody who's made a fortune sitting next to the central bank and taking advantage of the fiat system, then yeah, you're always going to be questioning its ability. I think for the rest of us, we're hopeful that this is the replacement.
Yeah. Did he seem fully there to you?
Fully there?
Yeah, like sharp and someone you should be going to for necessarily guidance on this. I mean, I know he's a bellwether sign for a lot of people, but at some point you might lose your edge.
Okay, yeah, maybe as like an actual like day-to-day portfolio manager, but all the research, everything that he's talking about now is the big cycles and the big transitions that happen during fourth turnings and during monetary resets. That's all historical data that he's curated over his lifetime.
Yeah.
And so I think for him now, it's just like he could probably explain those talking points over and over and over again without much nuance and be pretty much dead on, because everything that we're living through right now is coming from a history. There's nothing in our lifetime.
I think we're going through the pinnacle moment of his work.
Yes.
I just don't know if he's at the pinnacle of his abilities to interpret what's going to happen next or how it's going to play out.
I mean, I've talked to a couple people that worked with him, and
but I'm not trying to throw shade on him.
No. They've said we've had conversations that this is the one thing he's missing, is that this Bitcoin injecting itself may mean that becomes a new global reserve asset, new neutral reserve money, which means that we don't follow his path right into a Chinese yuan backed system.
Right. He could be right about so many things and emotionally married to a particular outcome that he's holding. Yeah. Okay.
All right. O'Leary, Bitcoin versus AI in an energy race. As U.S. grids strain under record AI demand, are Bitcoin miners about to lose their power advantage, or will the fight for energy crown Bitcoin as the benchmark for efficiency? Is AI data centers a threat or complement to miners? Sorry.
I think it's a complement, and I think you're going to see a marriage here of need and convenience. I think the government's going to declare these assets critical infrastructure at some point. And I think that these companies will be subsidized in the way that Amazon, Google,
miners or AI,
AI and miners. Yeah.
Both.
Yeah. For ability to get transactions into, processed, for the ability to secure power, for AI, for hash, for all these things. And I think, and I think to secure the grid and help the energy grid.
Yeah.
So while AI might be demanding more energy now and maybe has higher margins for these data centers right now, that changes as Bitcoin's price changes.
Yeah, I think Bitcoin miners are like the frontier energy players, meaning they can move portably to the extreme edges of the grid where there's no drive for AI yet, or there's no massive population base yet, but there's a huge resource there that we want to cultivate. I think these Bitcoin miners have that unique ability to be this frontier energy development resource that AI doesn't.
Yeah.
AI needs to, they're willing to plug into much higher energy. They need to be close to markets. They need to deliver data like right now. So I think a Bitcoin miner that might be like in a big city or in a, just plugged into the grid, they might be incentivized to shift towards AI, where pure play Bitcoin miners would be incentivized to go off grid, go further remote, and find the cheapest source of energy and develop those new resources. And so you're probably right. The government would use both of those strategically.
So I don't see it as a threat at all. ebbs and flows of the market. All right, let's go on to the next one.
Yeah, well, I think the end game is we accumulate $1 trillion worth of Bitcoin, and then we grow it 20, 30, Bitcoin appreciates 21% a year in 21 years. And then we grow that capital by issuing more credit. So we're growing faster than 21%. So the end game is get to $1 trillion of collateral growing 30% a year, be issuing $100 billion of credit a year, growing 20, 30% a year. And that credit is yielding 200, 300, 400 basis points more than all of the real estate backed credit, the corporate backed credit, the fiat backed credit, or any other type of credit instrument in the world, right? And it's done by some combination of Bitcoin Treasury companies working in concert with each other, right? The Bitcoin network becomes a multi-$100 trillion network.
So do you anticipate in that sort of future strategy being in a position where you might extend Bitcoin credit to institutions, distressed institutions or sovereigns at some point in the future?
Yeah, well, when we sell credit, we don't buy it, okay? So when you say extend credit, we won't be making a loan to them. We will be offering them our credit instrument. So if you're a nation state and you want 10% yield, you'll buy our credit instead of buying something that yields 3%, right? We will sell the credit, create the credit, right? And I think our view is we want to create, not 10 billion, but 100 billion and then $1 trillion. And then trillions of dollars worth of credit backed by digital capital.
What did you make of that? And I think the question here is, as Saylor reveals the Bitcoin Treasury Endgame is, do you think, individuals can kind of get the ideals or the qualities and traits from Bitcoin? Can companies sort of do that? Can companies be sovereign and use censorship resistant money and sort of the properties of Bitcoin besides sort of price exposure?
I mean, part of me says yes, part of me says no, because it depends upon the nation state and how much that sort of battle between the old system and this new system that Saylor is describing heats up. Because what he's describing is Bitcoin as pristine collateral that allows you to rebuild the financial system on a whole new collateral base that's equity driven, that's not debt driven, right? It's not treasury debt. It's not government debt. And that reorg of the traditional financial system sounds great to people like us. It's incredibly threatening to others that are fully embedded in that traditional space. Because, which is why I think he gets so much shrapnel, right? Because what he's talking about doing, you would, as an investor, as a sovereign investor or an individual investor, look across the credit he'll be selling and say, that's the best yield I could get. And I trust the collateral that underpins it.
So, early 12 months, 24 months ago, he would get shrapnel over. He won't say that Bitcoin is money that's trying to replace the dollar. Where is he now in that arc?
I think he's in the same place, because I think his model is the bridge, or that window of time, which could be, in my mind, 20, 30 years of time where Bitcoin coexists with the dollar. I'm not one of these guys that says we go to a Bitcoin standard, Bitcoin only in the next 5 years.
He's refining the Bitcoin turning the 30% CAGR into yield at a lower rate for the credit market. But that's going after the money market, which is huge, and the bond market, which is huge. So there is some ruffling of the feathers there. It's not the Bitcoin is money part of it, but it's going after Wall Street.
Yes.
You know.
But he's paving the way. Right now you're seeing BlackRock is going to do essentially a yielding Bitcoin ETF, which will probably look a lot like his money market competitor, right? His Stretch or Stripe.
I didn't know if that was going to compete with Stretch, or if that was going to compete with something more like MSTY and sort of the yield max funds.
Maybe the way they're generating the yield might be like that, but I think it's going to be a lot more. I don't imagine that
and everyone's going to be selling yield in the next 18 months from
I don't think the BlackRock yielding ETF is going to function like MSTY. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing to generate the yield, if they're going to function like with a Bitcoin as an asset collateralized, like strategy using for Stretch, or if it's going to be like MSTY and these other yield max.
I guess we'll find out. But I think it's interesting that we've talked about this a bunch, right? If you war gamed out the American debt crisis back before 2008, because your Pentagon Department,
you could
of
be
Defense,
wargaming
NSA,
in the 60s and 70s.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
you could war game this out from the view of history and from the trajectory of debt, and say, okay, we're going to get to this point where the U.S. the debt is unstoppable, and we're going to need to recapitalize the system somehow, right? And so you have people floating this idea like, oh, we'll just do a platinum coin,
right?
Oh, we'll just reprice gold. We'll do all these things, right? But doing all that is also sort of like easy to track. Like China's buying all the gold up front, Russia's buying gold. So you reprice gold, you just make all your competitors wealthy.
Yeah,
too.
they can't reprice gold.
Right. So if you developed something called Bitcoin and you floated it out to a bunch of tinfoil hat libertarian psychopaths,
I'm with you here that this is
that drove the price up, and then you go, wow,
and tinkered on the code.
You guys are so smart.
Open source the code, hacked it away at it.
And then some president gets on stage in Nashville and goes, "Thank you, we got it from here."
Yeah, and they've rolled out the red carpet as wide as they can for all of it.
And then what Saylor is telling you is, I'm recapitalizing the traditional financial system on Bitcoin, and I'm going to show you how to do it.
Right, and that's that public-private partnership.
To me, it seems like that's exactly what's going on.
Okay, so does the United States government take a stake in strategy the way they did in Intel? No, I don't think they need to.
They don't need to. If Bitcoin can come in and recapitalize the entire system. But they could always
subsidize, finance, and lend money to a strategy, which
they
gives it an infinite bid in the marketplace.
They could subsidize the miners.
The defense industry is not about what we need to defend ourselves.
Think about it this way, right?
Infinite bid from
we're investing capital in Intel because we want the chips.
Right.
We're going to invest probably capital in AI companies.
Probably Marathon and Bitcoin miners.
We want to control the AI.
Right.
We're probably going to invest in nuclear and then subsidize Bitcoin miners with portable nuclear.
Right.
On and on and on and on.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to have a sovereign wealth fund.
Right. And so then if you think about Bitcoin, this guy Signal Pigeon on X is great.
I don't know.
You gotta follow the guy, but it's like he's seeing it as like he thinks they're running the price up on gold. They're going to crash the price of gold, move to Bitcoin. But the key is that they control everything around the Bitcoin, not the Bitcoin itself, but the on-ramps, the custody, the hash rate, the mempool in terms of mining power and everything. And so it's then they can use the facade of Bitcoin the way the facade of oil or gold has sort of given credibility to the balance sheet of America.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to own the Bitcoin to get the credibility from owning all the pipes, all the on-ramps, and all the surveillance.
Right. I agree. I think what you're like, if I had to rub my crystal ball, I would say, okay, we're gonna let gold keep going to 10,000 plus an ounce while we're building out our Bitcoin empire. We're getting companies that own Bitcoin. We're getting subsidized.
Americans
you
through their
name
401ks and
yeah,
ETFs.
we're getting it embedded in America.
Yep.
We're letting gold market just go. China's driving that. Russia's driving. Thank you guys. But then when we go to reprice gold, it'll be because we are about to unleash that new capital into Bitcoin. Like Bo Hines described.
And they have to move from sort of the lack of credibility around gold to the credibility around Bitcoin and the auditable nature of Bitcoin.
That'll come, right?
Right. And I don't know if they ever sell the gold.
No. I don't think they would ever. They don't need to. They just.
I don't think they sell it. I don't think they.
I think they could potentially reprice it because it would give them so much collateral in the TGA account.
It would just make their enemies richer.
It would,
and
but
if they not to sell it,
it would make their enemies richer. But if it made us richer, and then we parlayed that into Bitcoin.
Jeff Park was going through this math on Pomp Show. I think I saw the clip, and it was. This is Jeff Park's math, but like even if you went from 42 an ounce to 4,000 an ounce, you're only talking like $1 trillion gain. Yeah, it's nothing. It's not.
It doesn't move the needle.
It doesn't move the needle.
Right. So
whereas if you had $1 trillion in Bitcoin, and that goes up,
that's why I
10x,
think
that moves the needle.
That's why I think they let the free market take it to $10,000 an ounce on gold before they convert.
Josh is calling for 16K on gold.
Okay, there you go. So they don't want to reprice the gold on their balance sheet at 10,000 an ounce when it's priced at 4,000. They just want to take it. They just want to market to market. So they want the free market to take it.
To market to market, they have to prove they have it.
Why?
I mean,
why?
I'm not. Yeah, sure. They don't have to, but it's kind of like, well, who cares if you market to market? Do you have any? Do you have
Bitcoin.
it?
It's not Bitcoin.
Right. I think
the only thing they need is the central bank who doesn't have to disclose anything to say, yeah, you got it.
All right. Let's go to the lightning round. This is BitcoinCenter. Hit like and subscribe. This is brought to you by Byte Federal. Go bank yourself. Point of sale, crypto wallet, and the Bitcoin ATM.
All right. Josh Mandel predicts the Bitcoin at 444K by November this year.
November 8th. Dude, you haven't heard about this?
I have heard about this. I didn't think there was a date on it, though.
No, he put a date on like when the bottom was. I think he was like, there was a particular day, like 10 days ago. He was like, this is going to be the bottom in 24 hours.
I remember that.
It's going to rip, and 444 by November 8th now.
Oh, I didn't know there was a date on it.
Which comes out to 3.6%.
I mean, if we go to 44K by November 8th, then
now, but he's saying that's a fast wick up, like a crazy thin wick up.
Holy smokes!
And then coming down to 84K, on the backside of that.
That's violent. Okay, so what's the question? The question is this a moonshot fantasy, or could Bitcoin's momentum actually make it?
I don't think it's a moonshot fantasy. I mean, we're talking about 3x. Bitcoin is done. If gold if people said, there's no way Bitcoin could move that big, it's too big of a market. If gold could do 50% and in 9 months, and that's a 10 to a, what now it's like or 13 to a $20 trillion market, a 20 plus trillion. Bitcoin could do 250, 300x in a quarter.
Yeah, no, I absolutely.
There's no reason it can't.
Well, it's not even a quarter now. It's like a month away.
He's calling by November 8th. But I'm just saying over the fourth quarter. Yeah. So I don't think that's out of hand. Udi's calling for 400K.
Well, if Udi says it, I'm all in.
I feel like in a weird way, Udi has been. I don't like the word either, but signal like in a weird way, especially in the last couple of months. I don't know. I'd love to chat with him sometime. So yeah, I don't understand this though. Like November 8th of this year is impossible. Impossible. What does that mean?
Impossible.
Impossible.
Not impossible.
Yeah. Well, interesting phrasing. Let's move on to the next one here. It is the lightning round.
Oh yeah, New York.
New York proposes excise tax on Bitcoin mining. Why are New York lawmakers proposing a new sliding scale excise tax on proof of work mining, and who would it affect?
Well, so there aren't a ton of crypto miners, at least, viable crypto miners in New York.
Right.
But there is one, Greenidge, I think they call themselves. Not Green Ridge, just Greenidge. And it has been under attack in New York for as long as I can remember because they use coal and natural gas. And so they're the New York blue poster child. They want to just destroy them. And this seems like an attack on them more than anything else. Is like they want to get that out of their state. I don't think it really has that big of an impact on anybody else, but these poor guys have been under attack by the state of New York for as long as I can remember.
My home state. It's a shame to see them not embrace or attack Bitcoin in so many different ways, from the bit license to proof of work.
All right, but consider who the largest lobbyists are in New York, right? I mean,
yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a lot of interest that have been there for a long time. Okay, moving on. Treasury exempts corporate Bitcoin from AMT. How will the U.S. Treasury guidance excluding unrealized cryptocurrency gains from the 15% corporate alternative minimum tax affect companies holding Bitcoin?
This is big. This is a really big deal. But it's a lot. It's really just a lot of relief. This never shouldn't have happened, taxing on realized gains, including that in the corporate minimum tax. So I mean, just it's relief. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this. I think what is something to really track though is the phased implementation of Form 1099-DA.
Okay.
Which is going to be sort of all the exchanges kind of giving you your buy information. A lot of this is going to come out fuzzy in the beginning. And I think people are really worried about having to pay phantom gains, not being able to prove cost basis on Bitcoin from.
Yeah, because you're going to be, I bought on River and I moved it to self-custody. River is going to say, here's your cost basis on what you bought, and then you moved it. So we don't know what happened over there.
Right.
We don't know where you took it.
Right.
And then
that's if you get good information from River. River is probably going to be great at this, but like there are going to be other entities that just,
sure.
Like
Binance, Uniswap ain't going to send you anything.
Right.
Right.
I mean, all these.
I'm just talking about legitimate exchanges. But
sure.
Then let's say you send it to self-custody and then you move it to Coinbase and you sell it at Coinbase.
Yeah. Coinbase is going to show you a zero cost basis.
They're going to send you a 1099-DA that says you sold this much. And now you've got to cross-reference all that stuff on your own.
Yep. And so record keeping is going to be paramount here, and people are fearing there's going to be an increase in audits and things like that. And
well, this is the shitstorm that comes before. You guys now need to communicate with each other, and River, you need to find out where they're sending that coin, and then you need to verify that
tracking and tracing.
Yeah.
So thankfully, they got rid of the the AMT exemption on. They brought in the AMT exemption on the corporate Bitcoin. But yeah, watch out for the 1099-DA. We'll keep you up to date on that. Let's move on. So the next one, the hiring spree. Crypto exchanges embark on hiring spree. Why are major crypto exchanges massively expanding hiring in October of 2025? Why now?
Because Josh told them it's going to 444. But I think it's the fact that we're seeing this. I think what they're preparing for this merger of TradFi and DeFi and crypto exchanges like Coinbase, Gemini, are all kind of coming together into platforms that offer it all. And so I think the regulatory clarity has caused these legitimate regulated exchanges like Coinbase, Kraken, River, Gemini, etc., to say to themselves, wow, we need to start pulling in some of these previously thought of as obscure, risky, offshore, degen trading technology. Maybe we need to bring that into our system. These perpetuals look pretty cool. Maybe we should be doing perpetuals here. Tokenizing real world assets, tokenizing securities. Why aren't we trading tokenized Apple at Coinbase, right? On and on and on. So I think they're seeing a very broad potential, and so they need devs to build that all out.
All right, we'll see where it goes. Let's move on to the next one here. I think we got a clip to run.
If you don't like cat photos, you don't like wizards or whatever, that's like your choice, right? But I don't think this is not a legitimate transaction, or, this is a waste of blocks, because NFTs are bad or whatever. I don't think that language has a play. Well, I don't think that should be considered when you are talking about writing policy code.
Yeah, as a developer.
As a developer, as a protocol maintainer, like.
All right, dude. What do you think of that?
I want to see more. I want to talk to her a lot more.
So,
because like that's, I mean, easy to say. I wonder how much Bitcoin she actually owns.
So that you could say
value,
that's skin of the
how
game.
much value do you have locked in Bitcoin?
Well, is she making a fair point that a dev shouldn't think about what people like or dislike in regards to what is a legitimate transaction?
You should think about what is the network used for and what's the best tools to make the network continue to function in that fashion. It's used to represent money. It's used to be unsensible, unconfiscatable blockchain that supports value.
Because that seemed to be to me, am I going out on a limb here too far and saying like that? Because that seemed to be like a political statement of sorts.
Yeah, well,
versus but shrouded in the guise of
libertarianism. Right.
So am I wrong and we should be libertarian about this, or am I like, no, you're missing the point. It's a protocol for a certain thing, and you're hiding behind libertarianism, and that's sort of like a political commentary on diversification. That's what I felt like.
Absolutely clear if you take the libertarian view of money.
Sure.
Right. If you say, okay, then Bitcoin is libertarian money, it's not libertarian data transfer. It's not a social media network. It's not a place to send JPEGs around. Your JPEG doesn't have to be unconfiscatable. The minute you show it to somebody, it can be confiscated. Like it's like you don't need Bitcoin level security for your JPEG. It's literally an attack on value, on the purpose of Bitcoin. And to just downplay it as like it should be open and it, your opinion.
I'm still trying to understand. I'm trying to see the other side and straw man the policies versus rules or consensus. Sort of the filter the mempool policy versus the consensus rules.
Yeah.
And the predictability of items going to be in the mempool.
There's dozens and dozens of blockchains that have just been carbon copies of Bitcoin that have been used for other things. Most of them have failed.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Right. So we have discovered through trial and error that money is the ultimate use case for blockchain, SHA-256, cryptography, hashing, etc. It's not the ultimate use case to store a JPEG. It's not the ultimate use case to support your video or your
but how we get there is important. To be continued. I want to keep exploring it. I want to make sure we're not missing anything here. But I agree with everything you're saying.
She should come on the show.
All right, well, open invitation.
Yeah.
So all right, let's move on to the next one here. White House floats using gold to buy Bitcoin. A senior U.S. official says the government could tap unrealized gold gains to fund Bitcoin purchases, potentially acquiring 1 million Bitcoin under the proposed Bitcoin Act. Is this happening for real? Is this for real?
Is it?
I don't think it's for real.
I don't know if it's for real. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, that means it's definitely not for real.
I could see this happening. Down the road. Like I said earlier, I don't think this happens until the market price of gold is much higher. I could see this happening as a way to try and trigger the rest of the world onto this Bitcoin standard, because we're developing, right, a unipolar world that traditionally has settled, if you go back 80 years, right, used to settle on gold. Gold was a neutral reserve asset of central banks. If your country, I'm talking about the US, is subject to a central bank that you don't control, that you don't have influence over, that is working for the global program, not working for Make America the best it can be, then this idea of flipping from gold to Bitcoin, it would send shockwaves across the entire global financial system. And in doing so, if you were better prepared than anybody else on the planet, your country would excel. So I could see this kind of strategy as a way to preserve U.S. dominance.
We'll see. Let's see
if they can make it happen.
The Trump shock, like the Nixon shock. Let's move on to the next one. This is kind of in line.
The $1 million Bitcoin question. One of the latest, on the latest Bitcoin matrix. Is that you? The idea of Bitcoin could hit 1 million this year is floated. If it did, what would that actually mean for the economy? Could it happen through multiple paths, or would it only be possible in the event of a total dollar collapse? We're going to roll.
If Bitcoin went to 1 million this year, which I think is still possible, not maybe likely or probable, how bad would that be for, let's say the economy? And what does that mean for the price of different things? But maybe, the price of bread doesn't skyrocket in that example. And maybe that's a way to export all the inflation into Bitcoin. And I do also think at some point, like, we kind of have to rip the Band-Aid off. Like, even if we don't want it to go quick, we don't want it to be ugly, I don't think we have a choice. I think idealistically, the longer this takes, the slower the grind up, the better for everybody. But I don't think we're assured that by any means. And I think at some point we have to deal with this, the pain in the system, or how broken it is.
That was just all about you? You're not going to let your guest talk?
I was the guest on that one.
Okay, sorry.
It was my turn to actually fucking talk.
Well, there you go. We got your opinion.
I've dwelled on that since Bitcoin Tina talked about America exporting all the inflation to Bitcoin. And maybe all these other things don't rip in the same way, perishable, food and consumer goods. And maybe that's a good thing too. And maybe that's not exported. And then you're not exporting all the inflation to the rest of the world either.
Yeah.
It's
I think it's an accurate assessment of what's happening with Bitcoin, but I don't think it just goes to 1 million.
Right.
I think it's because it's a free market. And if we went to 220, let alone 440,000 in the next few months, there would be a lot of sellers that would come out of the woods. So I think Bitcoin is going to continue to ebb and flow on its way to $1 million a coin, and there'll be a lot of volatility, and that will help with the transition.
If it did do an 8x, that's all it is, and
that's all it is.
Ran up to 1 million and hung out there for like 3 days, and then came like crashing down to 112.
Yeah.
Or even, to do more damage, hung out there for like somewhere between 750 and 1,050,000 for like 3-4 weeks. Enough time for people to lever up, borrow against, and that crashed down, the misery and the toll, and sort of that would be normal for Bitcoin adoption and cycles.
Yeah.
For people with the people with it, everybody, no matter what your size your stack is, you'd be worth so much more than you are now, 10 times now or 8 times now, and then to not be worth that, and then you had the few people that got to sell in that short period, other people who thought it was going to, it would just be typical, I think, in a lot of ways for a Bitcoin cycle.
Yeah. I think it would.
A lot of pain.
I think you would get a lot of selling and a lot of pain before we ever got to 1 million.
Yeah, I don't know,
but I mean, we'll see.
Let's
worry about that if we get it.
I did want to read this though. So someone wrote to Josh Mandel, every time I tried to trade, I have lost money. I'm only built for holding. But if there was a way to copy your exact trades automatically, I would definitely do that and even pay you a fee of the profit. And he wrote, at the beginning of my career, I came across studies suggesting that even a monkey throwing darts could outperform the average trader or portfolio manager, which made me realize that there's something in the market that often leads us astray. So when I started trading, I'd make a decision based on all the reasoning I could gather and then do it the opposite. He's a fucking legendary trader.
That's awesome.
All right. Pakistan. Will Pakistan's Bitcoin reserve plan backfire?
This is a weird article because it's like saying, it's talking about the difference between what the government wants to do or could do versus what's good for the people. And that very rarely happens, right? So like the government has, in Pakistan, I guess, has an enormous amount of unused energy that they're like losing money on, just unloading. So it makes absolute sense for them to mine the Bitcoin. And then the article goes into, but they've had so much corruption and fraud in the crypto space, and they've had this people that get taken advantage of and blah blah blah. It's like, that's not what we're talking about here. That's not what Pakistan's talking about. Pakistan's talking about, I got energy that's going to waste. Does somebody want to come help us mine this stuff? Mine this Bitcoin and put it on our balance sheet?
How long before like a country like Pakistan has, let's say enormous power that's unused, they start turning on Bitcoin? It's, a decade from now, Bitcoin's emissions are a lot lower. And the United States government sends over some jets and blows up a dam, no, you're not getting any more Bitcoin.
Right.
How long, like, is that the real hash wars where, and that's why I think
now
AI and Bitcoin miners are going to go along, because they're going to be protected.
Pakistan has sort of like apparently been our ally for a number of years.
I'm saying a non-ally, ally,
Sure.
And
yeah, but so if you're gonna drone strike or
this is one thought I think
tactically
where it's like,
strike your,
why would you blow up their stuff if you could use that power to mine for yourself?
Right. Well,
but at some point you say, look, we got enough. We got nuclear power. We're mining. We got Marathon. We own Riot. We own Strategy as our broker dealer, public-private partnership. Let's go blow up their nuclear power so they can't get Bitcoin.
Right. That's probably going to happen. You're going to go blow up Russia's. You're going to get yours blown up, right?
Right.
So it's going to. That's just the way these countries are going to deal with each other. So I think Pakistan's probably going to. Maybe they'll do it and then they'll sell the Bitcoin to us.
Maybe that's what Top Gun 3 is about. We'll
see. Man.
All right, let's go on to the next one.
Brazil opens doors to Bitcoin miners. With energy firms courting miners to soak up 70% excess output, is Brazil quietly positioning itself as the next global Bitcoin mining hub, or just flirting with a short-term fix?
This is the same thing. They got the excess energy. Yeah. Let's see where they go with it.
They're gonna mine.
Yeah. Well, let's see if they actually mine. Let's see if they actually attract miners. But they have the excess energy. It's clear path to getting some sats.
Someone will come.
Every week we talk about this. It's countries looking at crypto, stable coins, mining. It makes sense. Let's move on to the next one. The IPO pipeline. So Wall Street's $200 billion crypto IPO pipeline, with over $200 billion in crypto firms preparing to go public. Is Wall Street about to replace all coin speculation with a more respectable form of cryptomania, or just repackage the same cycle in IPO form?
It kind of depends on how you just use the word respectable. I had this conversation with Alex Thorne, and his idea was that, like, if it's legal and passes SEC compliance, then let people have it, and it'll find its value or it'll disappear. At least there is some sort of regulator here that's at least looking superficially at the legality of these structures and the disclosures around these structures. That doesn't mean that just because they put their stamp of approval on it, that it isn't going to fail, right? Lots of companies go public and fail, and the vast majority do. So I would say that it's kind of like Cryptomania with a little bit of an upgrade in that you can at least eliminate some complete frauds. Like, I don't ever see like Hex being able to go public, or like EOS back in the day going public, right? But you're going to get companies with ideas that go public and they fail. But hopefully this is going to weed out fraudsters. So I think I'm positive from that perspective.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. This one, you asked.
Yeah, Open Door opens its door to Bitcoin. The Open Door moves to accept Bitcoin payments. Could this mark the start of a real shift from digital to physical assets?
I don't think so. I don't think this is a big deal at all. I think this is just marketing hype. This is trying to appeal to the crypto or Bitcoin rich, which I don't think is the wider population. They might get some sales out of this, but I don't think that this is like a sign of the times, or and I think every company should turn on the button.
Now, Open Door, don't they buy your?
Yeah, and then if they renovate it, and then they try to resell
they're
it.
not really like matching buyers and sellers. They're buying the house from you, then they're reselling it.
I believe that's what they're doing. Yeah.
Is this like they will give you Bitcoin?
No, they'll accept Bitcoin. I think Ethereum and
so once they
Tether.
bought,
I think the Tether is actually the more important one here long term for them. Part of sort of with the Genius Act and the Clarity Act, I think if your Tether is at Coinbase, and you're not it's not a taxable event, and so I think that'll just do incremental benefit.
I mean, if they really want to make an imprint, offer me Bitcoin for my house.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's what this is about. They're going to accept Bitcoin and crypto for home buying. So
that would be
that's really interesting, and that's a whole different thing, and that's the opposite way of the street.
Think outside the box.
All right. Well, this is BitcoinCenter, episode 23, brought to you by Byte Federal. Go bank yourself. Point of sale, crypto wallet, and Bitcoin ATM. Make it happen. Buy those sats and put them in self-custody. Stamp your seed phrase. Use microseed. Hit like and subscribe. Ask any Q&A. I don't know if we have any in the comments, but thanks for joining us again. Francis, do we have any questions or comments?
We have a few comments. Let's just go there.
Go bank yourself. Robert Schmidt says Kevin O'Leary lost all credibility after the FTX collapse. He said he would invest with SPF again. Fair points.
I agree. He was kind of like, hey, I found Bitcoin. I'm here to fix it kind of guy.
Yeah, I don't think he's like pure signal, but it's interesting to hear what people say, and kind of even if you don't agree, I think it's kind of, especially in these bigger voices, what they're kind of pivoting around or trying to position themselves. I think he
came in during a cycle. He tried to be the big shot on stage and have all these opinions and get all.
Didn't get the tattoo as well.
No, that was Galaxy. That's his name.
Mike Novogratz. Yeah.
That was the Celsius tattoo.
Robert goes on to say he was also pushing for regulatory clarity, which means shitcoins get a free pass for selling on. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
He hasn't been a great influence in the space.
Agreed.
He's got a big voice, so people listen. Hey,
happy Tuesday,
dude. Yeah, go buy Blood of the Bourgeoisie by Michael R. Sullivan. Meant to shout that out. Thanks for tuning in, bro. Can't wait to dig into this. Looks fresh.
Nice.
You know. You guys actually believe Fort Knox? No, man, I don't.
I don't either.
Fort
I
Knox
don't think
doesn't
they
have gold.
have,
That place is full of value.
I don't think they have to have it.
Remember they talked about having a little audit in the beginning of the year? They also talked about having a Bitcoin audit, which I think it's the opposite. I think they actually have more Bitcoin than they've let on. I think they're going to turn up some nice sats somewhere. But no, I don't. Do you think there's any gold in Fort Knox?
I mean,
like, is it zero gold and they're just like the whole rouge?
I wouldn't be surprised if there's
Like,
zero
I don't think
gold
it's
in Fort
half.
Knox and it's all been lent out to the big banks.
So if there's zero, when you say zero gold, it's been lent out, meaning there's gold there, but they don't own it.
They have IOUs.
So that you think there was gold in the house?
In Fort Knox?
Yes.
No. I don't.
But there's IOUs on gold in Fort Knox.
Yes,
right. But you think there's no, and so do you think there's no gold, some gold, or no gold, but there's like fake gold?
I think there's fake gold.
You think there's fake gold?
Yes.
Yeah. And there was
yes.
Like, how does that happen? Like, do you just have a team of guys like bring in fake gold?
No,
and
no,
then
no, no, not
kill
like
them?
that. No, I mean just IOUs, just paper. Just
So no gold.
I think it's just a bunch
Like, not
of
even fake
it's
bars?
a bunch of security guards standing around an empty building telling the Federal Reserve,
Yeah.
we got this many ounces.
So do you
of
think
gold.
the gold was removed from like covertly?
Yeah, I think it was lent out. I think it was lent out for all sorts of deals.
Like above board lent out.
No one knows. That's what I'm saying. That's the whole problem with central banks. They can do all this. They can do all this shit without telling anybody.
Wow.
And then have a line item on a fucking spreadsheet that says, "Yeah, we got this much gold."
Do you think China has the gold they say they have?
Yes.
And they get busted like a few years ago for selling like $4 billion in fake gold.
I think they got more than us, but yeah, probably.
Hey, I wonder how much real gold they have and how much fake gold they have.
Yeah, who knows?
You know.
That's why we Bitcoin.
All right. Well,
this doesn't matter.
This has been awesome. I hope you guys hit like and subscribe. I hope you guys
Thanks,
tune
Robert.
in next week, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, every week. My name is Cedric Youngelman. This is
Paul Tarantino.
And you're watching BitcoinCenter, brought to you by Byte Federal. Go bank yourself.
Go bank yourself, people.